What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for today. Going over yesterday's picks, guys. We did miss this in soccer with this Logan Webb discount right here in the middle. This was a couple of plays that I gave out on Wednesday, and we did go ahead and hit Billy Richmond. And then Swain right here does go ahead and push at 29. This was a very, very close one. He definitely, I think he had like a couple of free throws towards the end of the game, and this does put him over. But that was a crazy end of that game right there. Purdue does go ahead and edge it out. And then we have these two guys playing tonight. These are also plays that I really like for tonight's games if you guys have not got that in yet. So we are 1-0-1, I guess, with this push right here. So that's nice to see. Pretty much everything in this Arkansas-Arizona game, I had quite a few plays on that, but it pretty much turned out how I thought it would turn out. I said it would be a very high-scoring game. It was 88 to 109. We took Arizona over 88.5 a couple of days ago. I think I took this all the way back on like Tuesday, but they cashed this super easy. I think they had like 60 points by halftime. So I knew that this one was going to hit. And then we also took Arizona money line. Not the most exciting play ever. They were heavy favorites, and I do think Arizona has a really good shot of winning the tournament in its entirety. But this one was a solid pick. Just kind of keep the lights on right there. Florida Panthers money line did go ahead and miss on the VIP yesterday. They did lose by 1 point there, so that's sad to see. And then probably the biggest, the worst, the closest beat right here was Darius Acuff. Man, he goes under by 0.5 PRA, and that sucks to see because I feel like it was the right call. He had 28 points. He just had 4 rebounds and 4 assists. So if he would have just gotten maybe 1 more assist, maybe 2 more assists, then he would have cashed right here. But I feel like I was right about him kind of being the main guy of Arkansas. I mean, he's the best player in Arkansas, bar none. But he does actually have a pretty solid game, right? 28 points. I'm not going to scoff at. It was just his rebounding and his assisting was not there. And, with Arizona, Arkansas, they were playing from behind. Acuff was the guy who was kind of trying to carry them through it. And unfortunately, he does go ahead and go under by 0.5. So that's unfortunate there. I want to give myself a little bit of credit with the Arizona game because, we did make a lot of right calls with them winning and with it being a high scoring game. Acuff just came up a little bit short right there by 0.5. And then there's a couple of opposite correlation. When things go 0-4, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with it because things do go 0-4 and it looks really bad and it's like, oh man, we missed everything in this one entry here. But if you guys are longtime followers, if you guys kind of understand what I talk about, I talk a lot about correlation, guys, and this is like the main way that we make money long-term. And it's with, for example, these guys right here, they have this kind of tan color jersey. I took them under together, and because I took them under together, they were correlated either to go under together or over together. If it was a shorter game, they would have went under together. Now, looking at these stats here, I can already tell that this game probably went into overtime or it went into a very long game because these guys had a ton of kills, okay? So when a game goes to overtime, it kind of makes sense if there's going to be more rounds, if there's more stuff happening in the game because it goes to overtime, it goes additional rounds, there's going to be more kills in that game, and this is exactly what happened. Instead of the unders happening, the overs happened, right? Sometimes in Valor and Counter-Strike, I'm going to take the overs. Sometimes I'm going to take the unders. Over here, that's another example of that in Counter-Strike. And then with soccer, I explained this correlation-wise with soccer, guys. You have one guy on one team shooting shots, and you have the other guy, the goalkeeper on the other team, saving shots, all right? And you'll see this guy has 1 shot, and this guy has 1 save because this team did not shoot the ball very much against Italy. Now, I knew that Northern Ireland was obviously not favored in this game against Italy. Italy was the much better team, but I still thought Northern Ireland maybe would have more than 2 shots or 3 shots or whatever for Donnarumma to get some saves, okay? So again, this was very correlated. The less shots that they have, the less saves that are going to happen. The more shots, if this guy would have shot the ball 5 times, then Donnarumma probably would have had 5 saves or 4 saves, something like that, right? So that is correlated. It just went 0-4, and that's obviously unfortunate. If you guys want to see the tracking of everything, you guys know that I show it every single day. Prize Picks Underdog, ONYX REBET. These are the straight bets, and these are the parlays, of course. So let's get into the first play of the day, which is going to be a straight bet. I have 3 plays. I have 1 on REBET, 1 on Underdog, and then 1 on Prize Picks. All right, you guys. So first pick of the day is going to be the over in tonight's game, which is Michigan State versus the UConn Huskies. Okay, so I think this is way too low at over 135. Okay, way too low. Now I know these are kind of slower paced teams, right? This is not Arizona versus Arkansas again, but I think this is way too low. On a lot of sports books like Pinnacle, I'm literally looking at it right now. On Pinnacle, this is over 136.5, so it's a whole point higher on Pinnacle right now at the same, at pretty much the same odds. So Really good play here. I think this line is too low. I think it should be a couple of points higher at least. And this is a really, really solid play right here. Okay, guys. So this is what we're taking in tonight's game. Hopefully it is a higher scoring game. If it does become that, then we should go ahead and hit this play right here on REBET. Now, if you guys don't know what REBET is, it's a way to get down money lines, spreads, over-unders, all of that traditional sports betting stuff in states like Texas or states like Arizona or Washington or California. All of these states. Personally, in Texas, I live in Texas. I don't have FanDuel. I don't have DraftKings. I don't have some of these apps. And I'm able to actually take these bets on REBET, on ONYX odds. And you need to be able to open up your mind and open up your betting game to money lines and spreads and stuff like that, or else you'd be leaving money on the table. You guys see that so far this year, we're up about 24, 25, 26 units, something like that on the straight bets. And I would not be able to be up that much if I was not, if I did not have REBET, if I did not have ONYX odds, because I would not be able to bet money lines and spreads and over-unders and stuff like that, okay? So get REBET. On top of that, you'll get 2 free months of the VIP, which is obviously great, so take advantage of that. You guys, we have a lot of apps you can sign up for. You can sign up for Sleeper. You can sign up for Novig. You can sign up for Kalshi. Underdog, which I'm about to get into as well. So a lot of different apps. My number is up here on the screen as always. So just go ahead and text me. It's my personal number. I will get back to you within 5 minutes. You'll get signed up for these apps. Probably takes about 5 minutes. And then again, on top of all this, you'll get a month or 2 on the VIP. But then these apps are also giving you stuff free, right? Underdog, play 5, get 75. You'll see REBET's $100 match. Something like ONYX odds, it's a free $100. So a lot of these apps have different ways to get you in and have you get some sort of bonus money on top of it, right? So you're not just signing up for something and not getting any bonus on top of it, right? So it's a win-win for absolutely everyone. It helps me out. It'll also help you out by getting into the VIP, getting you a bonus with these apps, of course. So with Underdog, guys, I highly recommend you guys get Underdog. Speaking of apps that you need, because Underdog with 2-mans, you get a 3.5x, all right? So it's really enough said with that. When you get a 3.5x, this is amazing, especially compared to Prize Picks or really any other app in the industry, because every other app is giving you a 3x or a 3.1x, but Underdog, with every single entry that you take as a 2-man, you're getting a 3.5x. So as profitable bettors, you definitely want to be getting the biggest payout possible with these apps. Now I have a 2-man for esports, okay? I love betting on esports for a couple of reasons. One, because you can correlate things together. Now this is not correlated, but you definitely can do that a lot. And then 2, because the lines are generally softer on these kind of niche sports like League of Legends and Counter-Strike and Valorant. You maybe never heard of these sports before, but it's kind of like betting on tennis or betting on some sort of other sport that's maybe not watched by like just millions and millions and millions of people, like the NFL or like the NBA, because of that, the lines are softer a lot of times. Okay, so these are very soft lines for these two guys. We're taking AU to go over 56.38 fantasy points. Now, with that being said, we pretty much just need him to win his games. I'll go into why I think he's going to win his games, but I would take this all the way up to 60. This is honestly my favorite play of the day right here. At anywhere under 60, I like it higher than like 56. I like it higher than 58, 59, whatever it is. So don't be scared to take small bumps, especially in this pick here. And then we're taking CEO to go over 46.19 fantasy score. And again, I like this all the way up to 50, okay? So I like this one up to 60. I like this one up to 50. And I'm taking this over as well. And again, I'm going to get into why I like these picks right here, okay? So let's start with AU, because he is on the team Furia, okay? You'll see it as Furia. They've played some really good teams recently, actually, and they're on a crazy win streak. You'll see they've won like 8 of their last 8 games or something like that. And these games that he wins, guys, look at the stats, right? Pretty much higher number means he's getting more fantasy score and more stats. So when he wins games, they're getting a ton of stats. They're getting a ton of assists, a ton of kills, which is obviously going to go towards his fantasy score. And then when he loses, and this is true about all League of Legends guys, when you lose, you don't get as many stats, all right? So here's a loss, and because he loses, he gets less fantasy score. Because he loses, he gets less fantasy score, okay? And he gets less kills and assists and stuff like that. But when he wins, he gets a ton of it. Now, I think that Furia is going to 2-0 their opponent because they're on a really crazy streak. They just won America's Cup. You'll see that this is a tournament they played. They played some pretty good teams, and they just won this tournament, right? Same thing with CEO. Now, I expect this game to go 1-1, all right? So I expect them to win win one and lose one. Same thing here. This is true with everyone in League of Legends, guys. When you get defeated, so you lose, you're going to get less fantasy score. When you win, you're going to get a lot more fantasy score. So hopefully in that one win, he might get like 30 fantasy score, and then the loss, he might get like 20 or 15 or something like that, okay? So these are the plays of the day on Underdog. Now let's move on to the plays on Prize Picks, all right? So one NBA play, my favorite prop of the day. I actually put a tweet out on this already. So if you're not following me on Twitter, go ahead and follow me on Twitter because I'm going to be posting more on there. It is Andrew Wiggins over NBA first half. 9 PRA, all right? So I want to dig into this line as well because this is a really, really extremely good line. Andrew Wiggins got traded to the Heat about the middle of February, all right? So take that with a grain of salt. But if we look over his last 10 games, I believe we can see when he got traded. I think he got traded on the 29th, the 26th. So this is pretty much every single game that he has played with the Heat so far. He has not gone under this line, okay? So that's really, that should be pretty telling. He's played a solid, about 14 to 16 minutes every time that he's played with the Heat as well. And you'll just see, I mean, head-to-head against the Cavaliers, if I can pull this up. I don't know why it's not going, but head-to-head against the Cavaliers, he's gone over this in the last 3 games he's played. And then in the last 15, all of 2026 or whatever it is, he has hit this line at an 81% hit rate. My favorite thing about this, guys, is if we go over to prop history, okay? And if we look, his line is normally set at higher than this. So it's at 9.5 a couple of games ago. It was all the way up at 12 when he played the Nets on the 5th. And then on the 3rd, his line was at 12.5 against the Nets again, 11.5 against the Rockets, which is a pretty solid defense. And then against the 76ers, the line was 11.5. So his line has been higher than this pretty much every single game that he has played, okay? So again, I really like this at 9. With anything in the NBA, guys, you really got to hit it right on the nose. So get it at 9. If it bumps to 9.5, it's still takeable, but it's definitely not as good of a bet, okay? The second play is going to be Nate Ament to go over 14.5 points. This is in tonight's game, Tennessee versus Iowa State. This is not as clean of a graph and everything like that, but you'll see once you get into this last 15, last 20, it starts getting a lot of green, of course. Really, what's happened in some of these games is he's just not played that many minutes in some of these games that he's gone under. And then even in the tournament, he really has not played that many minutes. You'll see his minute share actually going down in the tournament, which is weird because he's a really good player on this team. Now, I expect that to bounce back, and I expect him to get mid 30-minute range here, guys. This is obviously getting into the nitty-gritty of this tournament where you really want to be playing your best players. I was going to show, I guess I will show it, but if you look at this Texas and Purdue game, a lot of these guys are playing mid 30 minutes, no questions asked about them. They did not even come out of these games. You'll see Acuff, who we went ahead and bet on, the star player of this team, 37 minutes. This guy right here, 38 minutes. So these guys are playing at least 34 to 36 minutes in these games because, again, this is win or go home, right? This is March Madness. So I think that this guy plays in the mid 30-minute range, and I think he does go ahead and get about somewhere in the range of 16 to 17 points in tonight's game. All right, guys. So this is going to be the plays of the day on Prize Picks. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed today's picks. If you guys could leave a like and comment on this video, I would really help. That would really help me out. This pick might have bumped. It looks like. So if this play does bump, I would take his over PRA. Let's see what his over PRA is right now. There it is. So it looks like his over PRA is at 23. Okay, so if this does bump up to 15.5, then just go ahead and take his PRA at 23, and that's going to be good as well. You'll see that he does normally hit this when he gets the proper minute share, of course. So this is going to be the play, guys, on Prize Picks. This is it on Underdog, and then this is it on REBET. Thank you guys again. I really appreciate you sticking around and watching this video to the end, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.